And welcome to Killing Me Smalls podcast. Got a special guest today. My man Dustin is here in the building. Thank you very much. Rolling through this thing the second time.
That's right.
Got some new mics, going about things differently since the first time we tried this. So thankful for his patience in this, man. And today's subject is motivation. And Dustin's a real special guest for me on this, just because for me, outside of my family and my closest friends, like I don't have that many people that I feel like genuinely motivate me as a person. He's one, and my man, Big Joe, shout out to you, baby. All love for you, you know that. They're two people that definitely motivate me in certain regards, in certain aspects of my life. So, Dustin, my guy, can I have you pull up the definition of motivation real quick?
Absolutely. Man, would you look at that? It's a picture of you right on there.
Oh, that's an ugly picture.
Motivation is the reason someone has for acting or behaving in a particular way.
Okay. All right, I like that definition. It's very simple, clear cut, to the point. So what's your definition of motivation?
You know, I should have a more educated answer on this, really, but to paint a picture on it, the way I see motivation is like a cup of water. You know, I'm not an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. Mm-hmm. I see that as opportunity to put more water in that glass. Mm-hmm. You know, that's my perspective on that. You know, so my motivation is filling that cup up. You know, putting water in that, because I'm thirsty, man. I'm hungry. I got a family to feed, bills to pay. We got stuff we got to do.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what motivates me, is keeping that glass full. You know, because it goes down, it goes up, depending on what I'm doing. You know, and that's for me in the work life. That's how I define motivation. You know, is making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You know, to keep that glass full.
100%. I rock with that. I like that. And we have these conversations all the time, bro, which is why I was so excited to get you on. For me, I would have to say mine correlates with the definition that we read there, that you brought up. And it's just the reason behind why you live life the way you do. The reason why you go about each day the way that you do, whether it's a lack thereof or a reason as to why you have a lot of fervor, a lot of energy behind those things. So whatever you pull from in order to go about your life on a consistent and regular basis, whatever that is, I consider that as motivation. For those of you that may not know, I consider Dustin a very good man, humble man. He may not tell you, but he is one of the best salesmen in his company nationwide. So with that being said, I get a lot of things that I get to pull from on a regular basis when I see him weekly during our training sessions. So Dustin, what motivates you at work to be who you are, to be one of the best?
You know, it's knowing that I can, or at least attempting to be the best. Because, I mean, average is easy, you know. 50% of the world is average. Below average, that's even easier. You know, if you want to be above average, or if you want to be the best, you got to work hard at it. Right. And I'm not just trying to float through things, you know. I'm not just trying to go on day to day and get what falls into my lap. I'm going and getting it. Right. I'm going after it, you know. So there's a couple, you know, obviously from within, that you got your intrinsic motivation, the extrinsic motivation. I get the, you know, the accolades given to me for being the best, or you know, for what, if there's a competition, or maintaining my status. And then for myself as well, it feels good. It feels good to do good.
Right.
You know, it's easy to be average. You know, I can go into work and do like anybody else does and float through, make my way, and be done with it.
Right.
You know, but if once you start getting to that new level, they say new levels, new devils. You know, there's more that's coming after you. Yeah. And we've had these conversations of the push and pull, right, of what I go through to keep striving to be the best, or aiming aiming to get better every day.
Right.
One of my mantras, gradual acceleration. One of my work's mantras, coincidentally, is continuous improvement. And that's something that I live through and I live by day to day, searching for ways to be better. Because if you're not, you're stagnant. If you're stagnant, you're just going to float. So, not all still waters run deep. And and there's times it's tough to keep that motivation going.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, there's been times, even recently, that I've had to battle through this to maintain that motivation as well, where I'm swimming against the current as hard as I can, and I'm going backwards, just getting pushed back, but I just got to keep fighting through it. Right. Keep going and knowing that as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to do day in, day out, I'm going to reach my long-term goals.
Like that. So I want to follow up with that, with just saying, we talked about this before too. A lot of people get familiar with the Tom Brady effect, right? There's a certain point where you see a certain level of greatness and you see it executed day in and day out, and the same person is winning and winning and winning. And when you see that, it gets tough to kind of comprehend how it's possible, right? So people got tired of watching the same man dominate. And for me, I didn't hate on it, but eventually I was just like, man, can I see somebody else in the Super Bowl? Right. And you've been at the top of your field for so long. You've been one of the best salesmen for so long. Do you feel the Tom Brady effect kicking in for you? Like, man, why do I still have this zeal and this push to be number one? Like, I have nothing else to prove. Like, do you ever feel that?
I'm still going to do what I do because I don't want to slight myself. But yes, when you're on your way up when there's a target on your back. And the Tom Brady effect, all right. Yeah, people are just waiting to see you fail.
Right.
Right. Tom Brady, blah, blah, blah. He lost. I have positive reinforcement in my work life, my personal life, that helps me as well too. Mm-hmm. But there is that negativity too, that the opposite side. So I don't get calls from my coworkers throughout the region or throughout the country when I'm doing well. I get calls if I slip down a little bit. Hey man, Dustin, what happened, man? What happened last week? I saw you're not up there at the top right now. And that's what people are looking for. Like, okay, yeah, he's doing it again, he didn't do it this time. Something, So
true.
But again, I do it for me. I do it for me because I want to succeed. I want to be the best because I want to be the best. And I can be average and just float through if I want to, but you got to put in the work for it. And all those others, they want what Brady's got. They want what Dustin's got. They want what Alex has got. Man, I don't want to put in the work. Mm-hmm. I just want this. I just want to get those awards you're getting, Dustin. Man, I just want the trophy like Tom Brady. I don't want to put in the work.
Yeah.
But you got to grind day in, day out. You got to put in the work, and you got to motivate. It's the discipline. It's these different topics that you discuss as well too. Having that discipline go hand in hand. Motivation is it's like a garden, right? Or it's like a seed, and discipline is watering that garden. Mm-hmm. If you're not gonna water the garden, it ain't gonna grow. So you got to have the discipline to do it. But once you do so, you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Absolutely.
Because that motivation will thrive and continue as long as I'm watering it. I have to feed that motivation as well. It doesn't just appear. To
your point, to add to that is just different, and I love your illustration when you watch those roses and lilies and gorgeous trees blossom after you cultivated that soil. You're like, oh, that becomes another level of motivation. Oh, I did this, but look how gorgeous this is once it's manifested itself. So people don't understand that once you put through the work, put in the effort, and then you get to reap the results of the hard work and the time and the effort and energy and hurt that you put into that. Once you see the beauty of that, you want more. Yeah. It becomes addictive. So for me, man, just talking about work, and thank you for your answer in that. What motivates me is probably different than what motivates a lot of other people. I'm weird. And I'm okay. I've accepted it. Like I've been a part of a sales job and things like that. And they used to always pull me back and talk about my commission check or how much money I can make or my name at the top of the board. First of all, I am very competitive, but when it comes to sales and stuff like that, if it's not something that I'm mentally locked into, I don't care about competing with you. Right. I'm like, bro, if I can pay my bills, I'm good. Money is great, but I utilize it as a tool, not as something where I'm like, oh yeah, I want the biggest commission check. Oh, I want to see 100,000. Yeah, that's nice. Don't get me wrong, that's nice. But at the end of the day, I am motivated for a couple of different reasons. I want to use my platform to do my best to be there for different individuals on a day in and day out basis. Mm-hmm. So understanding that the world consistently beats up on all of us. We all go through something. We're all going through something currently. It may be something big, it may be something small, it may be something that's specifically big to you. Right. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we all got our own things that we're battling. Yeah. So when people come in for that 30-minute, 45-minute, 60-minute period and we get to work in the gym, I get a chance to instill confidence, to instill belief, and to help them obtain a result. Right. And watching them battle whatever emotional things going on in their life, a mental battle, the physical ailments that they deal with their body on a day in and day out basis, but they're still able to produce results. Mm-hmm. All watching that person blossom and grow, just like that garden that you mentioned. Yeah. It's just a wonderful process to be a part of. Yeah. And I do have a genuine love and passion for people. So knowing that it's like, hey, I got a chance to meet this person and I got a chance to make an impact. Yeah. That motivates me in that regards. With regards to my family, me getting the opportunity to possibly help them in a way where I create more assets, right? Or I meet the right people, maybe a doctor, maybe a therapist, whatever it is through my work. And maybe one day my family does need some sort of help in that regard. It's like, hey, I got somebody for that. Right. Or yeah, I can cover my bills, cover my rent, A, B, and C. I mean, you see this, I'm in a townhome by myself with a guest room, and that's not because, hey, I just want extra space. It's because, hey, if something happens to a family member, you got someplace to crash. Right. My goal is to never be in a place with a single bedroom. It has nothing to do with me or me coveting space. It has everything to do with the people that I care about and having the ability to house them if needed. That's all it's about, and that's all it'll ever be about. Absolutely. So my motivation is that I do want to see how far I can take everything now. Right. The appeal of being number one in my business in the Charlotte area is high. And I don't know what would classify somebody to be the best personal trainer. I believe in me though. Yeah. so at the end of the day,
that's where it starts.
Yeah, I believe in me though.
You know, you got to believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself and what you're doing, it's pointless. You know, if you're just going through the motions, then what are you doing? And if you have that goal set in mind to be the best you can be, and it's all a state of mind and what you perceive what you can do. And if you can, to be cliche, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. Why can you not? Right. Why would you not be able to? I mean, for me, the business that I stepped into, I knew nothing about at all. It was out of my wheelhouse completely. I was never in a sales position in my career, and I was like, let me figure this out. And I saw the potential to be the best at it. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to be the best up there. You know, so who's to say you can't? And what you believe, you put that energy out there. You know, the positivity attracts positivity. Negativity attracts negativity. And here's the thing that I've realized as well too. When I got stuck in a tiny little rut not too long ago, there's not more or less of negative or positive. It's there. Right. They're both there. There's both forces, either fighting for you or against you, but it's what you focus your attention on. It's what you focus your energy on, and it's that's what surrounds you. And if you're like, man, if you're stuck, the bad stuff that's happened, all the bad things, this is bad, you know, bad, that's all you're thinking about. Right. You're missing all the good things that are floating right by you. Right. And when you do so, you attract more of that. Right. You ever notice how somebody that has all this drama in their life continues to keep having drama in their life? Because that's what they're looking for. They're looking, there it is, here it is. And that energy they're putting out, it's real. That energy goes both ways. And if you have that positive energy, you put yourself around positive people, so around successful people, you will be successful, you will be positive. And you have to put aside the negativity.
Right.
You have to put aside the bad aspects, because no matter what, every single day there's going to be peaks and valleys, good and bad. It's up to you what you focus that on. That's going to create your mindset to be the best, to be the best in the best trainer in the city, to be the best in the company, to be the best football player in NFL. Whatever it is, it starts with you. You know, in your head, and then you take it from there. It's your mindset.
Always, man. Always. I think this is a good time to segue, because one of the things that I respect most about you is how much of a family man you are. So I want to give you the opportunity to talk about, if they do, which I'm sure they do, because I know you, what is it about your family that motivates you to be the best version of Dustin you can, the best husband, the best father, the best role models possible? What motivates you in that regards?
Well, I've seen the best and worst of what a father figure or a parental figure can potentially be. You know, I've learned from both sides of that.
Right.
I've been both sides of that, and I have worked my way to continue to improve upon that as well too. It's like any new job you get into, you have to learn how to do it and be better.
Right.
As a parent, as a husband, you have to learn how to do it and how to be better. All right, you doesn't matter how many books you read, how many videos you watch, how many people tell you what you should or shouldn't do. You have to learn through experience and perspective. And that's something, you know, I've told my teenagers that, hey, something that I definitely do have that you may not have yet, that you will gain through life, is perspective.
Right.
So what motivates me to be better is to make sure I'm making the right impact, because not everybody's perfect. You know, not everything is unicorns and rainbows every day, but it doesn't always have to be, you know, dark and cloudy days either. So there's going to be, as we said, negative and positive in every aspect of life, but I do try to highlight the positivity and growth more so. And I get that from my mother as well too. You know, she has been a guiding light in my progression as a human, as a man, as a father, as a son. You know, all those things as well too. So I take that, and it transcends. You know, so I try to be as good as I can, as much as I can. And the thing is, I got a short fuse like anybody else. I will speak my mind more so than anybody else. I'm pretty outspoken. And something that I have learned and adapt is taking that time, count to 3 in your brain, processing what you're about to say, how you're perceiving an interaction, or how what you're about to say is going to be perceived, you know, and kind of taking it from there. So there's so many other negative things outside in this world, outside of my household, that can cause such a negative impact on my family, my daughters, my wife, I mean my family. And I don't want myself to be that negative impact. I want to be a positive force, and I want little quips that I say here and there to ring in your head. Hey, you may not hear everything I'm saying right now, but it'll soak in down the road. Okay. And it's I like to surround myself with that positivity, and I like to create it as well. I like to bring that attention, that energy to light as well.
Yeah, I like that. And just going through and listening to you and trying to empathize. Obviously, I'm not a husband yet. I'm not a father yet. So understanding what your role looks like is completely different than what mine is right now, but still pulling from it, because not only are you setting an example for your children, but you're setting an example for yourself at the end of the day too. It's like, hey, this is the best version of Dustin, and when I achieve that, this is what it should look like. And when I fall short of that, this is what that looks like.
And I want others to surround themselves with that positivity as well too. So I mean, it's better to be, so I can quote a little bit here, it's better to be alone than to be in bad company. But if you're lonely, when you're alone, you're already in bad company. That's a combination of a quote from George Washington and John Paul Sartre. He's a philosopher as well too. So I mean, those things right there, surround yourself by the people you want to be surrounded by. Don't be, if you're in bad company, that you're going to have that effect too. But you got to be comfortable by yourself as well too. You know,
wrong people can pull from the motivation.
That's right. That's right.
Track from it 100%.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So you know, relationship-wise, I mean, you have to be a complete and whole person, comfortable by yourself, to be able to be comfortable with somebody else. You know, that comfortable silence is key, to be able to sit there quietly and just enjoy yourselves and not have to fill that void. And you know, it's work, man. You know, it's work.
You hit something that's tough though, because I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I genuinely believe that most people are not comfortable being alone. Not comfortable being alone with their thoughts, not comfortable being alone for long periods of time in their home, not comfortable in fully expressing who they are and what they believe to somebody else for fear of being judged.
Right.
So I think that you can still be motivated in certain respects without fully developing that, because I feel like I've seen that. But to your point, until you know yourself and you're okay with that, you don't understand the fullest extent of motivation and where it can take you. Right? So I love what you said, but I'm like, if I really dissect and look, and out of the thousands of people I've met and interacted with, maybe 15, 20 of them have hit that pinnacle in which you speak of right now. And the thing that is a common denominator between those sorts of people is they both hit the highs and both hit the lows. But it took the lows for them to understand what it was going to take for them to get to the highest point. And everybody's highest point looks different and their goals can be different. But they had, to your point as well, the right people around them, right? The right motivating factors, the energy, the positivity, the reality of what it looks like when they don't apply that same level of energy. And that pushed them and catapulted them forward.
Right.
For me, again, like I'm not in your shoes specifically. What motivates me in relation to my family, one thing that's big for me, and she knows this, my mom, like I told you before, man, that's my background on my phone. When I had my first Bible reading, it was she and I, we took a picture at the end of it, and that is my background on my phone. And one of the reasons as to why she's a huge motivating force, man, a lot of people don't know. And don't say this to get sympathy, because she don't talk about it at all. She was shot by her dad when she was 3, her and my grandma. My grandma was in a wheelchair since I had known her, and my mom got shot 3 times in one of her legs when she was young by her pops. Despite that, she's never showed any hate or animosity towards her father. Like, he's in prison the rest of his life. Yet the way she's talked about him has never been negative. She shared the story with us when we were older, but it was never anything where it was like, you know what, forget him, he's a bad individual, he's this, he's that. So that light of positivity was always there. My mom, shortly after she married my dad, ended up getting an illness in which she'll struggle with the rest of her life. And she's never 100%. Fibromyalgia, if you don't know what it is, look it up. And watching her battle that, yet raise 2 kids, yet be a wonderful wife with imperfections like everybody else, but be that wife for my dad and be a wonderful mom for us. Yet she ain't make no excuses, and she still doesn't, bro.
The strength.
Man, she executes on a whole nother level. And when I sit here and I think about it and I envision that, I'm like, what excuse do I have?
Yeah.
I ain't got none.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like these little things, little injuries that I'm dealing with, these little emotional battles I have internally, whatever I'm dealing with, it just fails in comparison. And not saying that mine aren't real to me, but thinking of her and what she endures on a daily basis, I ain't got no excuse. So I have no reason to not be the best version of myself and to go out and get it, as you say. And I also don't have a reason to settle for less relationship wise.
Right.
It's like, okay, I see plenty of women that move a specific way or whatever it is. And I'm sure everybody has their own way of being attractive to another individual. So I'm not saying just because it isn't appealing to me, it's not appealing to somebody else. But if you don't know how to deal with adversity, if you don't know how to display loyalty in times of difficulty, if you don't know how to grind through the hard times or even be a source of genuine positivity in the times where I'm battling, I can't fool with you. And a lot of it in part is the example that my mom has set. It's like, it's possible. So I need that. Yeah. Especially with the energy that I bring. So many times people are so accustomed to pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling from me. And I'm used to giving and giving and giving and giving. But I'm like, yo, that person that I pick has the ability to make or break me in a sense that she can either energize me or she can bring that drama and detract from me. She can bring that baggage and detract from me. She can bring whatever it is and destroy me in the times where I need to re-energize myself.
Yeah.
So my choice got to be specific. So I'm motivated in those two assets.
Absolutely.
Those two specific
and someone
places.
who listens as well too, with all that too. And that is a huge deciding factor in any choice you make in relationships that you're in as well, and somebody that does make you a better person. Right. That's why I say, if better to be by yourself than in bad company. If you're in, well, that's why George Washington said that. I'm quoting him, by the way. But if you're in that bad company, if they're bringing you down, if it's not building you up, then it ain't worth it, you know? And like you said, there's highs and lows in everything, and keeping that balance. I've said this before too, and it's from a book that I've talked about called The Four Agreements. Great book, by the way. Very small book, but very great way to live your life day to day. But one point of that is not making your highs too high or your lows too low. And because your best is going to fluctuate. You always want to do your best no matter what. Put it all in, but it's going to fluctuate no matter what. If you're sick, if you just want a game, high, low, whatever it is. And you got to have that own personal balance as well too. And it's hard to stand beside yourself and visualize like your own reflection or your own interaction with others from the third person perspective, because when you're in that interaction, it's hard to take a step back and look at it objectively. So that's why there are so many toxic relationships, because it is not that those relationships aren't viewed objectively from an outside standpoint. They're just caught up in it. And they're like, well, this is what I'm doing, and it just goes down and down and down. They're feeding off the negativity and the drama. Meanwhile, all those good things are passing by because they're stuck on the little things. So that's where relationships can become toxic and tear you apart, basically.
Absolutely.
So looking for those ways to find people who build you up, whether it's in a personal relationship, a professional relationship, whatever the case may be. Being conscious of who you're surrounding yourself with, who you're interacting with, and the energy you're giving off to is going to make or break who you are as an individual.
Absolutely.
Motivation, you got short term, you got long term, and there's each and every step along the way gets you to your goal in the end. No matter what that goal is, you really have to. That's how I build my days in my professional life, even in my personal life. And I have a mental checklist of things that I want to do on the short term to reach my goals in the long term. And as long as I'm checking those boxes each day, or by the end of the week, by the end of the month, by the end of the year, that's how you're reaching your goals. And it starts with how you perceive things, who you surround yourself with.
I want to stop you there because I got a question. I love that. We talked about toxicity. We talked about how you perceive things. Are there any moments in your life where you allow negativity to be your motivator?
Yeah.
Tell us what that looks like.
There are some of those times that I do let that negativity motivate me.
Okay.
That's the outside forces. And I really try, because if I dig too deep into that negativity, I go down that rabbit hole, and I'm like, ooh, it really starts to get me stagnant, you know. But if I take just that little push, it's kind of like if someone just pushes you because you're not moving fast enough, or, are you gonna go push them back, or are you gonna run faster and be like, I can run faster. So, trying to think of a specific example without getting without being too cryptic or too detailed, but
Okay.
yes, negativity can be a great motivator to a certain degree. All right, some people react better to positive reinforcement. Some people react better to negative reinforcement, only to a certain degree. You know, 'cause too much of that can just beat you up. But so I'll take it back to my profession. So there was a situation that happened years ago, back when I had first started, that negatively affected my income, and I wanted to figure out a way that wouldn't happen again. I was like, what did I do wrong? Because it made me feel bad, and it made me, on a lot of, not just bad, like bad dog, it made me feel bad on a lot of different levels.
I got
Because
you. Okay.
as a failure, because I lost finances out of it, because I wasn't efficient, because I was not doing the best. So there was a lot of like, man, and it was that negativity, that negative event launched me into revamping my whole approach and turning it into a stride. And I've said this before, and it's the truth. When people say, hey, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, ever since that moment, I've been sprinting a marathon. I figured out how to not make that mistake again and have that feeling not happen anymore. And I redevised my whole approach to what I was doing in my job and I played the long game as well with this in that sense. And again, full circle, because I played this long game to be much more efficient in the steps that I was taking to be successful. That one portion of my career is at the beginning of my career that I'm in now. I was maybe about 5 or 6 months into doing what I was doing, and I learned, and this was at a time that I was still figuring out how to do my job, and it was a slower point in the period of me actually generating income. So I really needed each individual, which I do every single time, needed each individual sale. But when I had lost that, I needed to figure out how to do better. And
I got you.
so yeah, now down the road, and then I did have a situation much more recently that has been an effect of what I've done, and it had deterred me from doing my job. And I'll tell you, man, everyone has a certain level of adversity, no matter what, no matter if any successful person, and that can be whatever it is in your professional life, your personal life, financially, racially. I mean, there's always certain levels of adversity coming at somebody one way or another, and being able to overcome those, jump over those hurdles, get through those moguls it was tough. It was tough for me, and I really had to hit the reset button. And this is what I had done, because man, I got into that negative. It sucked me in, and I was not producing, and I had to strip down to just back to where I was right out the gates. Like all my awards off my walls. They're in a box. I'm putting everything down. I don't want anything outside of what I'm doing, just to get back into focus. Like, man, just get back to doing what you're doing. Yeah. And that's kind of what gave me, like, revamped my launch pad again. Because that time, those years ago, when I had devised an approach. That's what had propelled my success, to be able to suddenly, and that was at the end of 2021. It was in like December, like November, December, literally. And then starting January 2022, I'm like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And that's when, boom, number one, 2022, 2023, boom. And I'm trying to do the same thing here this year too, but I got stuck for a minute, man, and it caught me.
So is life, bro.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it happens that way. I love how you didn't allow the negative circumstance to A, change your effort, and B, warp your thinking to the point where it just sank you. Getting temporarily stuck and stagnant happens. There are certain circumstances in life that happen that we just can't control. They're out of our control, right? Your situation is out of your control. Dealt with what you needed to deal with. You figured out a way to revamp and lock in again mentally, and now you're back to executing. And that's life. That's how it goes. Kobe didn't win every year, neither did Brady. It felt like that, right? Jordan didn't win every year, but they all, during certain parts of their careers, faced adversity, right? You can go through the scriptures and find different areas in which there were great documentation of people within the scriptures that were wonderful people, but they all dealt with adversity. David, a lot of us know the story about him and what he did and certain mistakes he made, yet the end prognosis about who he was as a person, different, right? It's positive. So at the end of the day, like for me, and I'm not saying that it's right, but I do use negativity to fuel my motivation in certain respects, especially when it comes to bad interactions, failed interactions, efforts, whether it's work-related, friendship-related, relationships, even performance as an athlete. So for me, like right now, dealing with the injury, knowing that I'm not 100%, it's frustrating, and watching other people being able to execute and win or play at their highest level. And it's like, man, on this person's best day, they ain't got nothing for me, but I ain't at my best day.
Right.
So that, like intrinsically, I'm like, yo, I can't wait till I'm back. But it's an opportunity once again to prove myself. And even the little things, like dealing with good people, genuine people, the little comments that happen, it's like, oh man, like, dang, bro, you getting old, or those things, or whatever it is. And I'm like, yo, even injured, I'm still a better athlete than you. I'm just keeping it a buck. Like at the end of the day, that's not what matters. But the comments that I hear, and I don't respond to it, it's things that I internalize. When I get back to work in the gym, it's like, yo, I remember that you said this, or oh, are you slipping, or are you hurting, or da da da. It's like, you in your 20s, and I'm still a problem for you, even at 31. So it's like, really? But I allow that stuff to fuel me. The certain interactions I had relationship wise, it's like I remember the negative things that were said, or certain things in certain ways people spoke to me, or how they came at me, and I'm like, yo, I'm never picking somebody like you again. Like if it walks like you, talks like you, whatever it is, I want nothing to do with it. Right. So at the end of the day, those negative things that I allow to come back at me, like I don't wish anything negative on any of those people, but you're gonna feel me. And every time I go at something, or I get in my own head, or whatever it is, it's, nah, I gotta be better than the man I was in that situation. Whether it was the injury, whether it was where I was emotionally, mentally, whatever it is, I gotta be better at making the choice with who I choose to give my time and energy to. I gotta, even the injury, honestly, the output, the energy I was giving to the gym, I got hurt in the gym. And a lot of that had to do with motivation. And unfortunately, negative motivation in that sense, and me wanting to go hard and everything led to that. So it's like, dang, but leading up to that, I'm like, what people did I have in my life? What circumstance was it? What triggered that response in me to push that hard that resulted in this? So it's like, okay, I get tired of going back to the drawing board and redoing everything and saying, all right, Alex, what did you learn from this situation? Okay, what did you gather from this situation? Or next time, pick something that looks like this or resembles this. Next time, avoid this. It's like, I'm motivated to do my best to make the right decision from the jump. I know it's not going to happen every time, but I know I can do better.
But, you know, sometimes that scrutiny does motivate you. And that's the thing. When you're good at what you do, there's going to be those who scrutinize. I mean, you talk about...
Love it. I love it.
Scriptures, while men slept, his enemy sowed tares among the wheat. You know, so like even while I'm sleeping, man, there's somebody that's out even while you're resting. Somebody's always trying to, someone's always trying to find a way to get at you.
Yeah.
To bring to light some sort of way to put you down, to provide negativity, to try to get you to fail. Because, man, when you're doing what you're doing, when you're the best at what you do, people are like, man, that's really good. But not everybody likes to see that. All right, people like to talk about, I mean, that's great to see a great athlete. It's great to hear about a great performance. But there's a reason why on the news they talk about the bad stuff that's happening, because that's what people thrive off of. They're just waiting, and so. But if you can use that negativity, that scrutiny, that whatever it is to drive you, it's being able to transform that into motivation.
Yeah.
Because if you get stuck in that, if you let that pull you down, they won.
I love that, man. And I had that talk with my brother the other day, and we were just rapping, and he's like, man, I don't feel like you get enough respect in this regards and that, da-da-da. I was like, oh, I do. He was like, nah, I feel like there are certain conversations that people have that you don't come up in. I was like, exactly. I said, that's my respect. I said, bro, nobody want to talk about the wins.
Yeah.
I was like, why? I said, each person in this scenario, whatever, I've handed an L to.
Yeah.
All of them. Several occasions. All of them. I said, they don't talk about that.
Right.
They talk about, if I mess up on the field, if I gave up a score, if I don't break one, if I run the wrong, whatever it is, if there's a drop, whole sideline going crazy, or everybody chirping. When I'm giving you the business, it's crickets. Yeah. When I hand you the L, it's crickets. Bro, they leave you out of the conversation because it's a representation of, okay, you're there. I'm looking for you to mess up because I'm sick of it. Right. I'm tired of watching you do this. Yeah. I'm tired of watching you perform. Even friendship, relationship thing, when somebody, even past recent experiences, when all they want to do is harp on the negative, and it's the same one or two things. It's like, okay, I'm not denying that you feel that way or that you're even accurate and what you're saying is valid. I got you. What about all the positive? Did it really have to go that way, or are we exacerbating that? Are we making that bigger than it should be? What about the fact that even when you responded in that way, I ain't returned fire with fire? What about the fact that even if I did mess up, how did I handle the circumstance after that?
Yeah.
How did you handle it? We don't talk about those things. So to me, it's like, okay, the failure to recognize those things or to be open and blunt about that stuff, the positive stuff, is enough for me. And that's motivating to me. It's like, okay, everybody that gives everybody validation, especially like people like hyenas, like they feed off each other's energy. It's like, nah, yeah, you're this, you're that, you're that. I got you here, I got you. But there's always an outlier in which a total group may deny a person of a certain level of validation or credit or whatever it is. I want to be that person.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, perfect example of that. I'm not perfect, not even close. I'm not that man. I will never be that man. So don't accuse me of saying that. But to me, that's what I live by. I've watched people that I respect and I'm close with make so many enemies for no reason other than the fact that they're willing to stand for who they were and what they believed in.
Yeah.
The world don't like that.
No.
The world don't like that. And that motivates me to continue to be true to Alex Smalls and make sure my people are good and to be genuinely loving and imperfect for everyone that I meet. I'm not going to have a perfect interaction with everybody, right? Competitive Alex Smalls is different than Alex Smalls in the gym.
Yeah.
Just working, right?
That's the thing, man. It's so easy to be negative and to thrive off of that drama. And people don't want to hear about that. I mean, like in general, I do, because I'm positive. I love it. I love hearing the good stories. I love hearing the good stuff.
Same.
I love talking about the good things. But, and I hate to have such a perspective on like humans in general, but if you take a step back and look at the world objectively, I mean there's a lot more negative things that are happening than the positive, or maybe there isn't. Maybe there's equal balance, but what is advertised more is all the negativity. Because man, I like to surround myself with positive people. I was raised by a positive person, and my family is great as well. You know, like we maintain that positivity, but you know, I've been in the I've been in a customer service business as well too. So interacting with general public day to day and lots of them, it's hard to not for me, but for others, it's hard to stay positive because man, I don't know, like it's tough to crawl through the muck to get out. You know, you just got to rinse yourself off of it, man. That's kind of where I'm at with it all, where I've always been at. It's where my mindset has been at. Is there's going to be these things, these negative forces holding you down for you, and I see it, man. Because that motivates you. Mm-hmm. People that are like, he can't. You know, that's how.
I love that.
Yeah. For me, I'm like, yeah, I can. Like, think what you want, be who you want to be. I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be. Mm-hmm. You know.
I love that, and I know that you know me well enough to know that stuff drives me like that. If anything, you make a mistake turning me up with that sort of stuff. But the last thing I want to touch on, man, just going into this, is any other small thing that you feel like seeing on a regular basis that motivates you to continue to be Dustin, right? So for me, like an example, or even an experience. So I'm gonna say two things. One, there was a time that I just have a vision of what I want my future to look like and what I want to work for. And it was just an instance in which my dad had lost his job, right? And amidst that, he ended up getting a job just working at home right by Concord Mills. So he had a corporate job, risk mitigation manager for the bank, big job, and he was struggling to find work again. So times got really tough, and due to my mom's illness and stuff, like she worked, but she worked part-time. My brother and I worked, but nothing to cover the bills in which the nature in which we had, right? So watching my dad go through his savings, watching him battle his emotions and go through those things, he was never neglecting to us as his sons, as a father. And as far as I can speak of, I feel like he always treated my mom well, right? And she never complained about how he would hold down his duties as a husband and leading the household. She always showed love and respect him despite that. But I remember, man, when my dad finally got a job, he was still working that little part-time gig, still going on the weekends. And I'm like, Dad, like, you good? Like, you got your payback. Like, what you going to this job for? He's like, nah, I need to make sure, like, we good, we taken care of. So one day I watched him, my dog Paulo, man, I miss that boy. My dog Apollo walked up to him. My dad was walking out the front door. Said, bye, Dad, love you. He said, bye, boy, love you too. He looked around the house, looked around. Dog walked up to him, pet him, said, good boy. Left. Said, okay. So waited till the next weekend, leaving. Said, I don't know if there's something to that. Said, bye, Dad, love you. Bye, boy, love you too. Paulo walked up to him, pet him. See you, boy. Looked around the house, nodded, left. I said, man, this man's motivated to take care of us.
Yeah.
Like this home that he's taking care of, which is not just the house in itself, but everything that comes with it, the family, the energy, the fact that I can come home knowing that this is what I've watched, this is what I've developed, this is what I've grown, meant something to him. That look was, I gotta be the best version of me for this.
Conscious.
I want that. I want that. I want the home. I want to be happy knowing that I'm willing to lay it all down the line for the woman that I'm with, for my pet that I got, for the kids if I ever have them, all those things. And I want to feel good about it. Right. And I watched that man be willing to give everything, exhausted, working his tail off when he didn't have to, still to make sure that we were good. Yeah. That had nothing to do with him, but everything to do with us. I want that. And I want the person that I bring alongside me, I want her to make me feel like I want to do that and be that. I don't want her to detract from that. But that's one thing. And then the last thing I'll say, and the flip side is, I'm motivated to be who I am as Alex Smalls because I see who I don't want to be every day. And now I watch a certain level of immaturity, when I watch a certain level of emotional discomfort, when I watch people not execute, when I watch the laziness, when I see these things, when I watch people say that they are this, but they're genuinely the complete opposite they're putting on the front. I don't want to be any of those things, and that's not a shot to anybody, but the reality to me is the people that I do surround myself with are genuine.
Yeah.
And they're okay with their imperfections, but they also are continuing to fight that to better themselves on a daily basis. Yeah. So when I see these interactions, when I see these people, when I see an unwillingness to change, a stubbornness, these things, I'm like, I don't want to be that. And every time I witness it, I don't judge them for being who they are. I don't know their circumstances, but I know I don't want to be you. Yeah. I don't want Alex Smalls to be like this person, to look like this person, to be spoke of in that light. That motivates me to be positive on a daily basis to those people. That motivates me to be the best version of me and to be there for these people and to keep my word and to fight for friendships and relationships genuinely, because they don't get it. And a lot of people don't see it. They don't have a Dustin, right? they don't have a Dustin. So it's like, okay. I live by that every day, bro. Yeah. So for you, if you got an example, if you got something that you see on a daily basis that pushes you, give me that and we'll end on that.
I'll leave it with a quick story.
Lay it on us, bro.
The dream that I had, probably the first dream I could ever remember.
Okay.
Young child, right? Okay. Maybe 5, 6 years. I don't know how old I was. I was young. In my dream, I'm getting chased by something. Right, literally, I don't know what it was, but it's running after me, and I'm running as fast as I can, and I came to the edge of a cliff, right?
Yeah.
And I had a choice to make, and I could either accept what was coming after me, or jump. I jump, right? So jump. This is a dream that I had. 5 years old, right? And I jump.
That's crazy.
I'm falling. I got my hands over my eyes. I'm falling down. Suddenly, I feel something on my feet, and I look down, and I'm at the top of a skyscraper. I pull myself forward. Right, so fast forward to when I moved across the country from New Hampshire to California. I took a leap of faith. I didn't know what I was headed for. I could have accepted my fate, because a lot of people that I grew up around, it's that same thing. There's a lot of negativity. Yeah. I learned from other people's experiences as well as my own too. This is what I shouldn't do. All right, don't do this. I don't want to end up how some others had. I took that leap of faith. Drove to go start my life on the West Coast. Like I said, I must have been 18, 19, maybe even 20, 19 years old when I caught the symbolism of this dream. You can either accept your fate. I know it's coming after me. I know it's going to happen if I sit here, or just take a leap of faith. Right. And I did. When I opened my eyes, I ended up on top of the world. On top of that skyscraper. And that's how I took my approach, and that was my personal launch pad to take off in that chapter of my life. And it still resonates to this day. Hey, that's what I did in my current career. I took that leap of faith. I could accept what I was doing, or I can take a leap. And you got to dive into the unknown, right, to see what's there. And if you do it right, do it the right way, you can end up on top. But you got to hustle to get there. So that's my motivation. To always be better, man, because I took that leap, and that's what I do every day. I don't know what each day holds. Right. You never do. You never do. In whatever it is, but as long as you're running as fast as you can till you can't anymore, and you jump, take that. That's just where it was. I took that leap of faith, and
where it turned out.
Yeah.
Dustin, thank you for coming, my guy.
Absolutely.
Killing Me Smalls podcast, baby. Motivation. Subscribe.
That's right. Subscribe and like.
Mama Dustin, I hope you get a chance to see this, because he spoke very well of you.
Love you.
Y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend.